Okay, so you're going to need a few items to do an annual maintenance on your hydrogen torch. One is the annual maintenance kit. This is the kit for the L45. It has some gaskets in it. It has some hoses. And it has a check valve. And I'll show you what these are all about. So one thing that you're going to find out really for just your annual maintenance, the only thing that you're going to really be using is the gaskets, the check valve, the hose. Now this O-ring, it actually comes with a notice that says this is only every 5 years that this is replaced. And whenever you are talking about replacing the O-ring, that really should go along with actually sending it in to a repair facility, sending it in to us, and we can do a 5-year maintenance on it. It's a little bit more entailed, but the annual maintenances are very easy and anybody can do it. So the other things you're going to need is you're going to need a crescent wrench or an adjustable wrench, a large screwdriver with a large screwdriver tip. You want some rubber gloves. Put those on. You're also going to want to wear safety glasses because we are going to be opening up an area where you can come into contact with the electrolyte solution. And you're also going to be replacing your electrolyte solution at this time as well. So your electrolyte solution, the initial mix-up that we did, will last for a year. And all you're going to be doing is adding distilled water to top it off. But every year you need to replace the electrolyte solution. Also, have some rags handy. And another thing is have some vinegar handy just in case of any spills so that you can neutralize the electrolyte solution. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and take off, and I'm not going to change everything out. I'm just going to show you how you change everything out because these are new items. So the first thing you do is going to replace the hose. So you would take off your hose nut, then you would remove the hose from the bottom of this. This might be a little bit tricky. You can always take this and soak it in hot water. That'll soften it up. And then you can actually pinch the hose with a pair of pliers. You can use some flat nose pliers, and after you've soaked this in hot water, this is going to be a lot more pliable. So you can actually grab a hold of the hose, pinch it, and pull it out just a little bit. That'll loosen the hose up, and then you can pull it off of the barbed fitting. And then as far as replacing, you just reverse the process with your new hose. Okay. Next thing, you're always, before you open anything up, you're always going to remove your booster tank. And this is best done anytime that you're going to be opening up the electrolyte chamber. You need to let the machine rest for about 45 minutes before you do that. But the first thing is remove the booster tank, just like you do whenever you are topping off your electrolyte fluid. And then you can go ahead and open up your pressure cap, safety cap. Okay. Now, in your safety cap, you see that there is a black rubber gasket, and that is what this item is. So take a probe, stick it in there, pry it up, pull that black gasket out, and then stick this black gasket in its place. Okay, so that's replacing the gasket on your safety cap. Now for your booster tank, there are a couple gaskets. So I'm going to go ahead, and since you've got your booster tank off, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this handle out. And it actually helps if you just kind of screw it out. Okay. You're going to find a gasket here, and that is on the handle where you attach your booster tank. and that is one of the O-rings there. So that's going to be replaced. And then if you look underneath, you're going to see another black gasket here. That is going to be replaced with this gasket. Okay? So once you get all of that done, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace the check valve. Now, with the check valve, you want to use your adjustable wrench to loosen up the large nut. And you're going to find a gasket here on your nut, and that will be the other O-ring that you will install on your nut to change that out. Looking inside, you see a brass ring, and if you look in the center of that brass ring, there is a screw here. You're going to see a notch for a screw. Do not touch that screw. What you're going to do is you're going to insert a large screwdriver, and you're going to back that brass ring off. And that needs to come completely out of the machine. And I'll go ahead and I'll pull this one just so that you can see. Okay, so there is the retaining ring. And then if you reach in and you grab a hold of that nut or that screw head, you can actually pull the check valve completely out. Now, the check valve also has a O-ring on the end of it. So make sure that whenever you pull it out, you also pull this O-ring out, because that's going to have to be replaced as well. And you don't want to leave this extra O-ring in there. Okay. Now the check valve is something that that I want to talk to you about as far as troubleshooting. The machine is a pretty simple machine. There's not really a lot of things that are going to go wrong with this. But if you possibly have had it setting for a while, then what can happen is the electrolyte solution can actually cause the check valve to stick. And if you turn the machine on and it's running and you had it running for a few minutes and you're not receiving any fuel or any gas flow out of your torch handle, go ahead and let it run for a little bit longer. 10 minutes. By 10 minutes, you should be producing fuel, period. So if you're not producing fuel, chances are that this is the culprit. And what the electrolyte solution can do as the gases are moving through is they can cause this to stick. You might, and if that happens, you'll have to pull this out, soak it in hot water, and then make sure that the valve is actually moving. Now, I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to take a small wrench here, just something to push in. Now look right there in that hole. You're going to see this move back and forth. Now, this check valve needs to move smoothly back and forth. If it's not moving smoothly, then it's definitely going to cause a problem with gas flow. And you're going to really see this problem if you let the machine set and not run it for at least 10 minutes a week. The machine needs to run at least 10 minutes a week. That'll help everything to stay flowing. If you leave it for a couple weeks and come back to it, chances are you will have to pull your check valve out, soak it in a little bit of hot water to loosen that up, and then put your check valve back in. Now, again, you never want to touch this screw. Never try to adjust this screw. These are pre-adjusted from the factory. If you do turn this screw, then your adjustment's going to be off. You're not going to have the proper flow, and then you'll have problems with the torch, either lighting or weak flames, so on and so forth. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this back in. So this would be an item yearly that you will change out, and it does come in the kit. Make sure that the O-ring is in place, and you're going to slip this back in. Push it back all the way. And then you're going to take it down as far as you can, and then use your large screwdriver. And you just want this snug. You don't want to over tighten it. So just whenever it is snug, go ahead and stop. Then replace the cap. Again, with this, just until it's snug, and stop. You don't want to over tighten it. And those are your yearly maintenance replacements. Now, again, you will have to replace your electrolyte solution. And whenever you do replace your electrolyte solution, the solution that you dump out of your machine, don't be alarmed. It's going to have some scale from the inside of the tank. It might look black, it might look crusty. That is absolutely normal for this machine, and it's going to continue to be that way. So once you dump the electrolyte solution out of the tank, then you can mix up new electrolyte solution and put it back. Just go ahead and refill your tank as normal and put the machine back together and start using it. The electrolyte solution, you need to check with your local hazardous waste department to see how they want you to dispose of that solution. It's different everywhere you go, so you need to actually check with them to see exactly how you get rid of that solution. Okay. So we have kind of covered quite a bit here in a very short time. We talked about the yearly maintenance, and we also talked about really the only troubleshooting issue that is common with this machine is actually the check valve sticking, and we talked about how to fix that problem. This machine should give you years and years of life if you follow these procedures. I know of machines that are out there, been out there for 20 years. So if you take care of your machine, it'll take care of you. One last thing I'd like to mention is I talked about flashbacks in the other videos in this series. A flashback is when the flame can actually travel from the tip back down to actually the machine, and then it will extinguish at the machine. And it's going to be a loud, like a backfire noise. With the L45, it does not produce enough volume of fuel to actually require a flashback arrestor. So if a flashback does happen, all you need to do is just shut the machine off, let it set for about 5 minutes, and then turn the machine back on, let it start generating your fuel until you get a good fuel flow, and then you can go ahead and light your torch and continue with your soldering operations. So I hope this information has been helpful, and if you have any questions about what we've covered in this video or the last 3 videos on this machine, please give us a call. We'll be more than happy to help you out.